This is Crowin back once again with T-Days for the Solar Wing versus Razor Alliance match. Solar Wing has brought a Vulture, 2 Tengus, a Drake, a Scimitar, a Hugin, and a Rook. And we may have lost T here, so Razor has brought 2 Dominixes, an Eos, a Proteus, 2 Ishtars, and a Thrasher, and we are go. The teams are about 50 kilometers from each other. Razor has dropped a lot of sentry drones, probably out of the Dominixes and possibly also the Eos as well. And we see the Solar Wing team, there are some shield maintenance bots out as well. Immediately the Razor Thrasher taking heavy damage. He's going to be going down rather quickly. Other than that, not much damage going around. A little bit spread between the 2 Tengus of Solar Wing, but nothing appreciable at this point as the teams... Well, let's take a closer look and see if they're cruising toward each other.
Yeah, it looks like now the Razor team's EOS is taking, all of its shields have gone. It's obviously going to be armor tanked at this point, and it's going to slowly be chewed away by the damage from the Solar Wind team.
Yeah, and just took a look. That Proteus is logistics fit. He is repairing the EOS right now, which is taking the bulk of the damage for Razor. He's holding steady at about 90% armor right now with the help of that Proteus. Meanwhile, the Scimitar for Solar Wing still taking damage steadily. He's down to about 65-60% shields at this point.
We've got the Proteus here, obviously logistics fit, with cap transfer coming in from the Dominixes on the Razor side, so quite a strong setup there. The EOS is holding about 75% armor. I don't think it's going to be able to rep this forever at this rate, but the Scimitar for Solar Wing is in half shields as well, and the Rook's now taking some damage on that side as well, so maybe they're now trying to split fire a little bit. That Rook's probably going to be their major danger at this point for Razor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you've got that many drone boats out there, you'll still be able to do damage, but it'll be spread. And now that Rook down to about 15% shields very suddenly, I don't know if that Scimitar is now out of range of him for having run away from the damage himself, but the Rook now no armor and gone. So the Rook gone for Solar Wing now. This could be already the breaking point in the match as that Rook goes down. The Eos still holding now at about 80% armor for Razor.
Yeah, we've got the Hugin target painting for the Solar Wing team. Not having much of a difference on the Razor EOS, although he's slowly being chewed away. There's about half armor now. The only other ship on the field with any damage at this point. One of the Drakes for Solar Wing is slowly going into shields, and the Scimitar is still got half shields, being healed by some rep bots.
And it looks like that they're utilizing that Hugin to hold the Razor team at range. We're seeing webs on some of the smaller Razor ships, keeping them from getting in close and getting nasty with the Caldari ships close in. We're also seeing now that the EOS still holding. The damage still being applied, it looks like, to the Drake at this point. The Scimitar is recovering, as you said, with the help of those armor maintenance bots, but I'm trying to take a look here and see if we've got any kind of turrets on these Dominixes. It doesn't look that way, so hopefully all their damage isn't from drones. They're all cap transferring between each other, so great tank, but not much gank at the moment.
The Scimitar is being able to keep the other Solar Wing team members fully healed at the moment. The Scimitar itself is taking some damage. It looks like probably sentry fire at this point. I can't see anything else that would be hitting at that range. He's still got his armor shield maintenance bots around him, so he's slowly being chewed away, but if he manages to out-track those sentries, he should be able to do that.
And it might not be too difficult to out-track those sentries if he's able to pull enough transversal velocity on them. Now the first Ishtar for Razor, suddenly the target of Solar Wing. He's already down to about 25% armor. Started pulling a little bit of it back. I'm not sure if that's the Proteus or something local, but now he's losing more and more armor as he goes. Just about to hit structure, and yeah, it is the Proteus repairing him, and it may be enough at this point. Hard to say, but for right now, it does appear to have stabilized.
It's stabilised at about 20 or 30% armour, so not a good place to be. It seems to be repping up a little bit now. Obviously they switched fire, Solar Wing switched fire, very good idea to try and get the logistics pilots, with the Proteus not having the range bonus that some of the other logistics ships have. If he's not right on top of the rest of his teammate, as we see the Ishtar now going into structure, repping back a tiny bit, it's quite possible that the Proteus will be out on the wrong side of the team, and if they get the switch round quickly enough, they might be able to pop a ship. The Ishtar now in serious trouble.
Yeah, he's holding in there. That Proteus is trying his best and keeping that Ishtar alive right now, but Solar Wing doing the very smart thing here in cycling through targets. When you're up against a logistics setup that you're not going to be able to necessarily burn straight through from the word go, you want to cycle those targets, make the logistics pilot change it up, try to catch the team off guard. Then bear in mind that at the range they're at, and Solar Wing bringing this many missile ships, they're able to switch targets rather effectively, switching targets while the other missiles are still in the area.
Yeah, it's certainly a good way to put the logistics pilot in a difficult position. Both those Tengus for Solar Wing are running the bonus subsystem for range, so obviously making the most of that. The Ishtar now is pulled back quite a bit of armour. In fact, he's over 30% armour back already. It looks like they might have switched fire to something else because he's being repped very, very convincingly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what though, unless maybe they're shooting the drones. I mean, that is a possibility, but no, we're not seeing much damage on that Ishtar, and he is almost all the way back up now. There are still missiles impacting on him. They're just not doing much at this point.
And again, this is another one of those matches where both teams really do need to score a complete victory. They both came into this match with eight points. The scores that they currently have for the ships that have been destroyed is not going to be enough to actually progress in the tournament. So we might have here a bit of a stalemate going on, and neither team's going to progress. That'll be a bit of an upset.
Absolutely, and well, and the teams that we saw in the first matches of the day that won, they're rooting for a stalemate here because that's two more teams that are out of contention for their spots, their spots at the top of the order. Obviously, both of these teams go out with what 15, maybe 30, maybe up to 25 points. They have no chance of going through, even on a team that got 0 points one match and 125 the next. So despite this being a bit of a turtle fest, this could have serious implications on who moves on if neither of these tanks breaks, which honestly at the moment it doesn't look terribly likely unless something happens to either that Scimitar or that Proteus.
Yeah, with the Hugin there to protect the Scimitar from Razor getting close to it, it's definitely holding up fairly well at the moment. It's got a small amount of shield damage. I think that's just natural regen at this point. I don't know if the shield bot's still running on him, but there's drones exploding, I'm being told.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's the sentries. The Ishtar there took quite a bit of damage and now already repped it back up from the Proteus. Now the Proteus taking a volley, and it's starting to take some significant armor damage, down to about 75% armor already. Now if that ship goes down, then it drastically changes the situation.
Yeah, unlike a normal logistics ship, as I said before, the Proteus doesn't have the range bonus to the reppers, to the remote armour maintenance, but it does have the ability to overload for very long periods of time without overloading and blowing up the actual modules themselves. So he can probably tank quite heavily by overloading his internal tank, as well as he was able to bring up, keep up the rest of the team doing the same thing. It's one of the things that the Tech 3... Oh, as we see, one of the Drakes for Solar Wing is out of shields, out of armour, and very shortly he's going to be out of the tournament.
Yeah, he's down to about 5% structure. Is the Scimitar going to get there? No, Drake down. So we do have another potential swing in the tournament. Meanwhile, that Proteus, has a very impressive local tank, but he was dipped down to about 50% armor there for a moment. Now the Drake's DPS is going to be gone, which, while not a massive DPS ship, it could be enough. Now the Scimitar of Solar Wing, the focus of the Razor Fire, he's already down to 50% shields again.
Looks like the Scimitar is in serious trouble as well. The Scimitar now below 25% shields. They've only got the maintenance bots to keep that up, and it looks like they've going to lose that very, very shortly. I think at this point it'll be down to how much time's left on the match, because the Scimitar is in structure and gone.
Well, it's going to be the issue of if those Tengus and that Vulture, if they're passively or actively tanked. Now the Hugin of Solar Wing is taking heavy shield damage. He's going to be going down very shortly, is my guess, especially without the Scimitar around. And the damage seems to, the coordination of damage against Razor seems to have fallen apart a little bit. We have that Ishtar, that first Ishtar of JS Liam Elms taking damage again, but it's being easily kept up with by the Proteus at this point. I'm very curious what happened, as we see now this Hugin out of armor, dipping into structure, and the next couple of shots from these sentry drones ought to finish him off, and down he goes. So we still have on the field for Solar Wing 1 Vulture and 2 Tengus against Razor's 2 Dominics, 1 Eos, 1 Proteus, and 2 Ishtars.
It would appear that what happened was that Solar Wing tried to save their Drake by pulling the Reprobots off of the Scimitar, and Razor spotted this, and as they didn't manage to save the Drake, they didn't have the Reprobots back on the Scimitar either, and that's why the Scimitar died.
Yeah, very true. The Retbots did get there toward the end of the Scimitar's life, but it was too little too late at that point, I think. What I was curious is, I don't know if the Scimitar got out of range of the Drake in the first place, or if he hadn't been paying attention, maybe got in cap trouble somehow. I'm not sure. None of those seems terribly likely, honestly, given the ships on the field, but all the same, that Drake went down in a big hurry, and now we're seeing this Tengu. He's down to about a third shield, taking the damage from the entire Razor team at this point. As you said, capable of maintaining quite a bit of range, which he's doing right now, which is mitigating some of that damage, but he is going down slowly but surely.
It looks like the Tengu, obviously being shield tanked, expecting reps from the Scimitar. He'll probably able to hold on a little bit longer yet, but he's getting towards the dipping point, and we see the Vulture is also now taking damage. So Razor's now splitting fire between a Tengu, which is now big huge chunk gone. Big huge chunk of damage came in and just popped it. So we now have a Tengu and Vulture for Solar Wing versus a Proteus, Dominix ×2, still untouched, Eos, Ishtar with some structure damage, but otherwise quite happy. His armor's been ripped up, and another Ishtar which is untouched, as they go to town on the second Tengu for Solar Wing.
Indeed, he's already down 60% shields, 55, and those teams that were hoping that this was going to be a stalemate, I think, are kind of hanging their heads right now. There is still opportunity for that later on, but this looked like a very good candidate with 2 very strong logistics-based setups. That Tengu now just about out of shields and will be going down very quickly, and we'll have only the Raven remaining for Solar Wing. Yep, and there's 25% armor for the Tengu and down. So only the Vulture remaining against the Razor team, and he is going to be taking a lot of damage very shortly.
Just waiting for them to start putting damage on as he's... Okay, there we go. It's now into nearly half shields already. Now Razor have fully opened up on him, and he's dying.
Yeah, that lone Vulture left for Solar Wing. Sorry, I think I said Raven earlier. The lone Vulture now in huge trouble. Already down to 15% shields. Going to be hitting armor very soon, and that will be the end of that as soon as he's into armor. And yeah, there we go. 1 volley through armor, another volley should do it through structure. Oh, not quite. Maybe he has a damage control on, and down goes the Vulture for Solar Wing. So Razor again with they wipe Solar Wing completely off of the board. Had a tough match against Goons, but came back strong in round 2. So with that, we'll give it back to you, Soundwave.